Masks in Yokohama, Pivot and the Wolf by Scribbler Johnny. Hiroi always knew he was different. The other kids knew too. They couldn't pinpoint what it was, but Matsui was a weird kid. Hiroi didn't like the same music as everyone else, or the same movies, with one exception. He liked Go-chan. Everybody else liked Go-chan, but mostly Hiroi liked Go-chan because he was a mask. Hiroi's mother had told him that the singer had a special gift. He had the power to grow as big as a giant and make his clothes grow with him. Akane Matsui told her son she had known Gombe Fukugawa personally before he became the singer Go-chan, and Hiroi had no reason to doubt his mother. When he was 16 years old, though, Hiroi learned that he had gifts too. The gifted lived among the people of the world, and now Hiroi Matsui was gifted too. After learning it, he told his best friends Emi and Shinichi about his discovery. So I was weighing myself after my workout, and the readout on the scale kept changing. Up, down. The numbers changed, and I realized I was controlling my weight. I'm gifted, like Gochan or Iron Tiger, he said. Emmy said, Wow, I wish I was a super. I'd have a really cool power, like the power to make my art come to life. And then Emmy frowned. Or make my stupid freckles go away. I like your freckles. They're cute and they make you unique, Hiroi said. Your freckles are part of what makes you special, Emmy-chan, Shinichi added. Well, what about you, Shin-chan? Emmy asked. I'd want the power to control machines with my mind. Mechakinesis? Hiroi asked. Something like that, Shin agreed. So, for the sports festival coming up, I'm on a committee to draw posters, but I need some more practice drawing people. Can I practice on one of you? Emmy asked. Sure, draw me, Shin said. Shin-chan spoke up first, but you can draw me too, Hiroi said. Oh, you don't have a mask name yet. What will you pick? Emmy asked suddenly. Oh, I don't know. Weight manipulation isn't very exciting. I can't be Weight Man. I'd sound like a bodybuilder, or worse, a low rent Mega Man villain. I'll think of something later, Hiroi said. I'll think of something, Hiro-chan, Emmy offered. I know. Smart hero, she added. Shin made a retching noise. Well, how about burden? Hiroi grimaced. Burden sounds like a backpack. Emmy frowned at this. They hurried to finish eating their lunch. So, when did they start letting leopards go to our school? Teased a girl named Hasegawa. Her friends giggled. Emmy snapped to her feet, with her chopsticks in each hand. Which eye are you most comfortable losing, Hasegawa? I'll take one of them if you piss me off. The girl screamed and ran away. I hate them. One day I'll make all bullies afraid of retribution, Emmy vowed. That's what I'll use powers for, punishing bullies. She sat down and resumed eating. They're jealous because you're prettier than they are, Hiroi said. You really think I'm pretty, Hiro-chan? Hiroi blushed. Well, it's like you're prettier than them. Shin chimed in. I think so too, Emi-chan. I'm glad we're friends. Shin-chan, we're friends because we're outcasts. We're too smart and too weird and nobody likes us, Emmy replied. But thank you. For what it's worth, I think both of you are sweet and handsome in your own ways. Which is another way to say ugly, but I'll take it, Hiroi joked, pushing his glasses up his nose. They finished their lunch and waited out the remaining free time over by the dojo on school campus. You should join judo club with us, Emmy, Hiroi said. Oh, you just want to have my body pressed against yours without having to buy me dinner first, Emmy teased. Don't worry, I take women's self defense class. Hiroi demanded to see her fighting stance, so she set down her satchel and demonstrated. Hiroi admired how steady and stable her feet were in her stance. He also admired how she was filling out her sweater vest. How had he not noticed earlier, he wondered. All right, how do you respond to a hook punch? Shin, demonstrate, please, Hiroi said, trying to keep his mind off of his friend's body. Shin willingly threw a left hook at the vicinity of Emmy's chin, but she flicked her head back, otherwise not moving. Impressive. Again, Hiroi said. He was the vice captain of judo team and confident that he would get his black belt sometime next year. Shin tried a little harder, and this time Emmy parried, pivoting on her hips and throwing an elbow into Shin's back. Her control was perfect, so Shin didn't get hurt. I got it! Pivot! It's perfect, Hiro-chan! In her excitement, she gave Hiroi a kiss. It only lasted an instant, and she pulled back, covering her mouth. I, I'm sorry, Matsui. I'd better go. And Emmy ran, forgetting her satchel. Hiroi felt like he had a fever. He was dizzy, and then Shin cursed. Bastard, how dare you kiss her? Now she won't be our friend anymore. Go dance in traffic, Shin. She kissed me. I think I'm in love. Emmy ran to the first bathroom she had found, red as a boiled lobster. Inside, she leaned against the door, with her eyes screwed shut. She was nearly crying. Stupid, Emmy, stupid! Hiro-chan is just a friend, and now he'll feel weird about you. A voice called out, Hey! You aren't allowed in here, Inukawa! This is our turf, river bitch! Shouted Anna Matsudera, who was the second in command of the Sakebon girl gang. Sorry, I just need to catch my breath, Emmy said, opening her eyes. A group of 4 girls had been carving their emblem into wooden yo-yos. I'd like to let you go, Inukawa, but if we let you go, people who matter might think they can intrude without any trouble. You understand, Matsudera said. I matter, Emmy said, channeling her anger outward. Put away your knives and I'll prove it, you acne-scarred alley cat. Her eyes flared, and then she felt a terrible calm come over her. You're a wolf, Emmy, and these are just street cats. You can take them all together, an inner voice said. Anna nodded, and they put away their penknives. Their long skirts ruffled as they stood and began to move. 4 hardwood yo-yos flew toward her face in slow motion. She almost lazily slapped them into each other, tangling the strings. And then Emmy snarled and felt her teeth change into big wolf fangs. She pounced on Matsudera, the leader, and pinned her to the floor with her teeth on her throat. God, you're crazy! I give up! Anna screamed. Suddenly, the wolf was gone, and a scared 16-year-old girl was pulling her mouth away from a violent bully. I'm sorry, Emmy said as she backed away. Did you see her teeth? Asked one of the girls. My string is tangled up, you bitch, complained another. Emmy hurried to leave the bathroom, and someone was already grabbing her by the shoulder and saying, Inukawa, that bathroom isn't safe. Come here with me, said an upperclassman that she recognized as Mihoshi, and then the older girl took her hand, pulling her along. Did they steal things from you? Mihoshi asked. No, I left my things over by the judo club. Uh, Mihoshi-san, what do masks do when they find out they have a gift? Do they tell the principal? She asked in a daze. Um, I think they keep it a secret, Inukawa. Why? Is one of those gang girls a mask? And then Mihoshi stopped to look at her. Or are you one? No, not me. I'm just Emmy, Emmy said. Mihoshi nodded. Do you still need to use the bathroom? Emmy shook her head and bowed before heading back towards the dojo. Inside, that wolf voice told her, get your things, and then tell the boys how you really feel. They're all yours. Nobody can take them from you. And the wolf made sense. A lot of sense. Hiroi and Shinichi were scuffling outside the dojo, and the wolf spoke up for Emmy this time. You boys stop that right now. You both belong to me now, and I won't allow that shit. They stared at her in awe, with their glasses knocked askew. That's right. I'm your girlfriend now, and it's settled. Nobody else wants to take you or me, so we're together now. Now, who wants to carry my bag back to homeroom? Shin pulled away from Hiroi and yanked her satchel off of the ground, almost losing his balance in his haste. And then Emmy was back to normal again, smiling sweetly. Thank you, Shin-chan. And she gave him a kiss. Now we're even, right? Hiroi still hadn't fixed his glasses, so Emmy reached out and did it for him. I found myself. Everything's going to be all right now, she reassured them. Boys were silly. Come on, I won't let you make me be late to homeroom. And she headed off toward the classroom. The boys followed her. Bro, did you see her eyes? I swear she was a different person just then, Shin whispered. She's our girlfriend now. What does that mean? Hiroi asked. I'm sure Emi-chan will tell us. They watched her thick curly hair sway, and her hips too, as they followed her back to class. You don't think Emi-chan would really pop out someone's eye, right? Hiroi asked. No, she's too nice for that, Shin replied. But I wonder. Both boys rode the train with Emmy to walk her home after school that day, even though it was in the opposite direction from where their apartments were. As they walked from the train station, this time Hiroi carrying Emmy's satchel, listening as Emmy laid down some ground rules. No kisses, except what I choose. No booby touching until I say so, and no peeking at my panties. You'll take turns for dates so that everyone gets alone time, and no more fighting. Yes, Emmy-chan, they agreed. Most importantly, always have condoms ready. I won't have sex with you yet, but I want you to be ready for when I feel like it's time. They nodded at this, dumbfounded at her businesslike attitude and her forward approach to things. Now, be respectful to Higashi-san. She's old-fashioned. As they followed her to the small house where she lived, they bowed to her housekeeper before taking off their shoes and entering. Higashi, auntie, these are my classmates, Matsui and Negazawa. They're going to be helping me with some school projects. Mrs. Higashi nodded and welcomed them inside. My parents asked her to continue to take care of me before they died, Emmy said once they were in her bedroom. So she handles my allowance and things like that. Now, Emmy declared, who has questions, class? Hiroi raised his hand and Emmy nodded at him. Emmy-chan, what happened? He asked. Good question. I found my gift and I beat up some sukeban. What? Asked Shin. She showed them her fangs without another word. Both boys covered their mouths to muffle their screams. Seeing their sweet, beautiful, brand new girlfriend suddenly sprout fangs like a monster would do that to anyone, I assure you. And I seem to have reflexes. Here, throw your penknife at me. After she returned to normal, Emmy walked over to the far side of her bedroom and waved her hand. Uncover the blade, silly. Hiroi hesitated, but he trusted her, and he threw it. She caught it by the blade between two fingers. The new finger's block of the North Star, she announced like a cartoon action hero, and gently threw his knife back. Then Higashi-san opened the door carrying a tray. In case you want some snacks, I have orange juice and crackers and some seaweed snacks, she announced. And then the elderly woman set down the tray on Emmy's desk. Should I go buy some soda? She asked. No, thank you, Higashi auntie. Juice is healthier, Emmy said, smiling. Higashi-san smiled and left. Hiroi sheathed his penknife and put it away. Wow, two masks, Shin said. Man, I hope I get a gift. Hiroi smiled. The chances are actually pretty good. Masks tend to trigger each other in all the stories. When the masks are close friends, seeing a friend's gift manifest triggers their mirror neurons, and then their own powers will show themselves. Like Iron Tiger and his sister Golden Carp, Shin said. Right. Emmy then nudged Shin. Go ahead, Shin-chan's gift. Show me what you got. Shin closed his eyes, but nothing happened. Maybe you got your machine power, Emmy said. Turn on my computer with your mind. Nothing happened. Hmm. Maybe you're just a late bloomer, Shin. Hiroi nodded at him encouragingly. Shin was not so sure. It would be just his luck. His two best friends become masks and leaving him as a mundane. By the way, we decided that we like the name Pivot too, Hiroi said. So Emmy clapped and said, Hooray! And what's your name going to be? Shin asked. The Wolf, Emmy said. Oh, yuck, that's lame, Shin replied. How about Wolf Gal? It's cute, Hiroi suggested. Well, then I'll be cute Wolf Gal, terror of bullies everywhere, Emmy declared and clenched a fist. Wolf Gal, Pivot, and Super Shin, Hiroi said, clenching his own fist beside her. Shin laughed at them and poured himself some orange juice. What a trio we are. Three nerds trying to be super, he said. Lots of nerds become super. It's a cliche, Hiroi countered. Besides, you two are the smart ones. No, you two are the smart ones, Emmy retorted. I'm just good at arts and crafts. You speak English better than Fuyutsuki sensei, Hiroi said. Emmy had to agree with that. Well, Papa has lots of foreign business associates, and I had to learn English. Still, linguistics is not easy. You're not dumb, Shin said. Well, I do notice Mr. Humble didn't claim not to be the smartest, Hiroi teased him. It's not arrogance if it's the truth. Test scores speak for me, Shin said loftily, sipping on his juice. Emmy then pulled off her sweater vest and unbuttoned the top of her blouse. Relax, boys. You're in your girlfriend's house, she said, and they both unbuttoned the top of their collars. Now let's not waste time, Emmy added, giving them each one kiss and then pulling out her homework. With the kiss, I thought, Hiroi began. Help me out with my history, please, Hiroi darling. Shin pointed his hand like a gun. History's all you, bro. I'll follow along and take notes. So they got to work on their homework, but it was hard to concentrate with all the hormones flying around, and they each found themselves looking for excuses to put a hand or a finger to touch. Innocent touch, even though it was. It was a thrill. They'd never been in love before, unsure of what the word really meant, but they were confident that the movies and the manga had it wrong. Shin put a soy sauce flavored seaweed snack into his mouth, letting it melt a bit and then pulverizing the resulting pulp before swallowing. Hiroi watched Emmy help Shin with his English. No, you do not say, "It is a nice girl." You say, "She is a nice girl." She is the word for females. He is the word for males. Do you see? She said. Hiroi watched as Shin casually touched her hand. She is a cute girl, Shin said. Emmy made a happy squeal and gave him a small kiss on the cheek. No more flirting with Tutor Emmy. Your homework is important to get you into college. I won't marry a shut-in with no education and no job. Hiroi almost choked on his seaweed snack. Marry? Whoa, we're 16, Hiroi said. We're old enough to get married. Don't you know Matsudera got married already to a Yakuza goon? Emmy protested. Now I will marry you two, but only if you get real jobs. Emmy, you can't do that. You can only marry one of us, Hiroi said. Besides, I'm not ready to get married anyway, and neither are you. Emmy let out an exasperated breath. After college, I said, Hiro-chan. Do try to keep up. Shin nodded. Besides, she's going to marry me anyway. I've got the bigger thing. Oh, shut up. No, you don't, Hiroi argued. I'll find out when the time is right, Emmy said. And both of you are going to be my husbands, and that's final. So, that settled, she resumed reading from the textbook. Mariko needs a pen. Kei loans her his pen. He gives his pen to Mariko. Then she groaned. Ugh, this is so repetitious and dull. Kei thinks Mariko is plain, but cute enough to date if he thinks she'll put out. Mariko is a total tease, though, and leads Kei on for months, never so much as touching his dick. Kei leaves Mariko for Reiko, who knows how to take care of a boyfriend. And then Emmy began to giggle. Hiroi hadn't caught most of it, but he gave a shy smile. He decided to focus on mastering his English then and there. Shin was lost. Oh, just a dirty joke about how girls who don't take care of their boyfriends lose them, Emmy said. My mom taught me what to do, so don't worry. I'm a virgin, but I know. She then abruptly stood up and walked to her bookshelf. I have some books full of shunga, she said, pulling out a book with a plain paper dust cover. She showed them the title. It was in her handwriting. Classical art, she said, and then opened the book to show surprisingly detailed ancient erotic Japanese art. They looked at the pictures together. I know everything a woman does, she announced. I just haven't practiced, she added shyly. So be patient while I practice, okay? I promise to learn fast. Emmy, we're not going to leave you. You're my best friend, Hiroi said, touching her back. Yeah, we're gonna stick with you, Shin promised. Can I borrow your art book? He asked. Emmy giggled. Of course you can. You both should start learning too. Hey, why is this book in English, though? Hiroi asked. The government won't let people sell shunga in Japan, so all the books are from America and England and such, Emmy explained. But we have porn and stuff. That's a silly law, he blurted. Well, I guess the politicians want to pretend our ancestors weren't exactly like us. So, Emmy sent her boyfriends home with kisses and homework from her art class. Higashi-san waved and smiled as they left. I like your friends. That Matsui is tall and cute, isn't he? Higashi observed. Yeah, Emmy said dreamily. I'm going to marry him after college. Oh, big plans already, Emmy-chan. What about you? Will you go to college? Art school, she affirmed. Good. Follow your dreams, dear. Your parents wanted you to do that. Emmy gave her housekeeper a hug. Thank you for taking care of me, Higashi auntie. I'll make sure you get a nice retirement pension. As they prepared for dinner, cooking together in the roomy kitchen, Emmy felt like they were two roommates rather than a child and her caretaker. Emmy studied the different knives there in the kitchen. A wolf needs claws, and knives are like human claws. After eating dinner and taking care of washing up, Emmy was tracing ripples in her bathwater. Claws. She imagined gauntlets with sharpened fingertips, spiked knuckle dusters, metal caps to cover her own fingertips. And then an idea struck: iron knuckle dusters with curved blades attached to them, short enough to be able to help out with climbing, long enough to kill. Yes, a wolf had to be prepared to kill if she needed to. She smiled at the water, and Wolfgal was truly born, baring her fangs to the night. No one would bully her ever again. She would own the darkness and never fear the night. When Shin was home, his parents were arguing again. He no longer cared why. He just grabbed some instant ramen and some soy sauce packets from some restaurant out of a drawer and went to his bedroom. He plugged in his electric kettle and put on his headphones. He didn't turn on any music, just blocked the noise. He didn't want to remember the last time he'd cried. He told himself he'd never cry again. He wished his folks would just divorce and get it over with. He made his soup with his hands moving on autopilot, his mind wandering and thinking about Emmy, how her lips had felt, how she smiled, how her curly hair floated around her face. He could do worse as girlfriends went, and nobody wanted him anyway. All three of them were unwanted. It made sense for them to be together, but it was so sudden, and Shin began to feel anxious. What if he let his guard down and Emmy changed her mind? And would he ever grow a gift? And what would he do when Emmy wanted to do it? Would he mess it up somehow? And what if he hurt her? What if those teeth decided to hurt him? Did she have secret teeth in other places? And and what if his thing was too small and she just laughed at him? He ate, still on autopilot, even down to blowing on his noodles to cool them. He finally put on some music and he hummed along to his current favorite song, Courage Take by Peppermint Sisters. And he felt reassured. He believed that if Emmy really loved him, everything would be right. Whether they actually did it or not, or when the time was right, it would be right. He hoped he wouldn't have to wait too long, though. Those paintings in the book made it look like sex was amazing. And he didn't notice when his mom had entered his room at first, listening to his music and looking at the art book. He did finally notice she was leaning against his desk while he was sitting on the floor. He finally felt her eyes on him. He looked over at her. Art class, he said. Shin, it's okay. You're at that age. It's normal, his mom said. Do you have a girlfriend? He hurried to shut the book. Yeah, Emmy from homeroom, he said. Oh, that Brazilian girl with the afro and the freckles? Well, her grandma was Brazilian, Shin replied. She's cute. Shin nodded, noticing how his mom's eyes were looking rather puffy. He silently stood up and gave her a hug. There was nothing he could say, nothing more to be said. He had asked her to divorce his father already, and now it was just down to comforting her. He didn't know what he would do without his mother. I can help you get condoms if you want. One of our neighbors sells them. She works at the factory that makes them, his mom said. Well, thanks, Mom. We aren't ready for that yet, but it's good to be prepared, right? They both softly laughed. And how about Hiro-chan? Does he have a girlfriend? Emmy. What, both of you? She's a brave girl, eh? Yeah, Emmy's brave. She beat up 4 gang members who tried to bully her in the bathroom. Ooh, she's a fighter. That means she's a keeper. She'll fight for your love. And they started to chat, keeping it light, until they knew that his father was asleep in front of the TV. Then she hugged him good night and walked off to bed. Shin would have cried, if he still could, but he had to be strong for Mama. He was a man now. Soon he'd be taking care of her. He was mentally preparing already. Not far away at Hiroi's house, his dad was eating some convenience store sushi. Sorry, son, Mom's busy tonight, so I just grabbed some easy food. There's more sushi in the fridge, Goro Matsui said. Hiroi thanked him and joined his father to eat at the table. His father asked him how things had gone at school that day. Inukawa Emi is my girlfriend now. She just announced it to me, like informing me that my shirt was white. She's cute, but odd if I remember her. She's got that afro. Well, her hair is longer now and not really an afro, just really curly. Okay, so I remember her. She seemed like a nice girl. Yeah, Dad, she's very sweet. She likes making gifts for her friends. They chatted, and they ignored Akane Matsui's absence. It was how they learned to cope without her around. Later, Hiroi sat in his bedroom, and his mind returned to Emi. He had never thought of her as girlfriend material, especially after her parents had died in the ocean and she had been hospitalized for mental health. She had come back different. A piece of Emmy had died with her parents in that boat. Now she was his girlfriend. He idly checked around on Twitter. There was a new account called Wolfgal following him. There was no profile picture. He decided to create an account for Pivot, and then he followed Wolfgal. Ah, shit. He'd have to actually get a mask and a uniform and take photos for Pivot's Twitter account. After he had thought that, Emmy sent him a selfie. She was wearing her pajamas, but the shirt was completely unbuttoned. Her breasts were still covered, but he had seen more of her skin than ever before. Do you like these freckles too? She texted. He did, very much. He saved the picture and took a rare smiling selfie to send to her in reply. Sweet dreams. He looked again at the sexy picture. Emmy was not smiling in that picture, but she seemed to be satisfied. As for Emmy herself, she knew the effect the photo would have. Her dark eyes contained her joy, but also deep pain. In addition to getting better at his English, Hiroi vowed to be a good boyfriend and to find out what that meant. The next morning before school, Emmy sketched out what her claws should look like. She had been saving up her allowance for a new tablet for her art classes, but the wolf demanded claws and fur. She would need gray fur. Putting aside the paper, Emmy started to sketch a one-piece costume, a short skirt, an open blouse with ties so that she control how much skin she decided to show off, and then bracers and shin guards and lace up sandals that went almost to the knees, a mask with a wolf's face, with ears and all. The wolf approved, and then Emmy looked down at her bosom. How much are you going to grow, huh? I don't want to have to spend a lot of money just to keep you contained or comfortable, she whispered. She had to hurry to get to school on time, but Emmy did. Super reflexes were nice, but super speed would have been really useful. She knew she couldn't get what she wanted all the time, and having two gifts was really nice all the same. As soon as she got through the gates to the school, she saw the members of the Sukeban gang giving her space. A lot of space. Well, that was good. Next, to get them to stop bullying anybody else. And there was a smile on Emmy's face for everyone, even Hasegawa. Shin and Hiro were sitting in their normal places, which were near each other, but apart from her in the classroom. With an alphabetical seating order, that was how things had been sorted. Matsui and Negazawa, far from Inukawa. That would change if she married, because then her name would become one of theirs. And then she would make Shiro sensei change the seating arrangement so that she would be near at least one of her husbands. That would have to wait, though. Just because they could marry didn't mean they should. Not yet. She hurried to take her medicine, sipping from her water bottle. Shiro sensei looked at her, but did not make any sign or say anything. He had been informed about Inukawa. Homeroom went by like any other day, and the poster committee leader, which was a boy named Yoritomo, told the class about their plans for the sports festival. Emmy politely applauded, but secretly she believed Yoritomo was too much of a people pleaser to be a real artist. She saw a future in advertising for him if he didn't become an office drone instead. She helped some other art club members work on the backgrounds for the posters, leaving a lot of space to draw competitors. She would need to practice with one of her boys that evening, maybe even get him to pose nude. It was too naughty. She paused and looked at Hiro-chan. Her heart fluttered as he directed his committee. Hasegawa was the leader officially of his committee, but that dumb girl let Hiro take charge, and whatever he thought, everyone else knew that he was smart. Hey, who are you swooning over, Inukawa? Is it Matsui? Is he your boyfriend? Teased Motomiya, a plain girl with reddish hair from some European ancestor or another. Yeah, Hiro-chan is my boyfriend, Emmy admitted. And then she got back to work. Now, don't take this wrong, but I think you're a good match because you're both unusual and Motomiya trailed off. Emmy just smiled and thanked her. The nail that sticks up gets hammered down, but unusual people are the ones who change the world, Motomiya, Emmy said. For himself, Shin was working hard, later on in judo club, and Hiroi was distracted. Shin hoped he was thinking about Emmy and not some trouble at home. Shin needed Hiroi's family to be the stable one, what with Emmy's parents dead and his parents fighting all the time. And Hiro kept thinking about that picture Emmy had sent. Had she sent the same one to Shin? A different one? And would she favor one of them over the other? And he landed hard rather than using his breakfall techniques. His sparring partner, Hoshi, apologized. Matsui, are you all right? He asked. Hiroi caught his breath and waved. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. It's my fault. You did it right. To punish himself, Matsui jogged 2 laps around the dojo. Nobody questioned his actions. They knew that their vice captain had odd habits and tolerated them because he was dedicated and skilled. Hoshi joined him for the second lap. Hey, about your friend Inukawa. My girlfriend says that she bit Matsudera. That's not true. Matsudera made up a story because Emmy fought off her and three of her gang. She just couldn't accept that she got beaten, Hiroi lied. Right, she wanted to save face, and Inukawa's crazy, so she thought people would believe a ridiculous lie, Hoshi agreed, and then he caught himself and apologized. I didn't mean anything. We all know why Emmy went to that hospital. Can you say you'd be perfectly fine if both of your parents died on a fishing trip? Hiroi replied. Hoshi shook his head. Remember to think about a person before you go calling them things like crazy. Life is hard for everybody, right? Hiroi added. Hoshi nodded and quietly apologized again. They rejoined the others on the mats and sparred. No one would ever know that Inukawa's final moments were like, but that storm, the one that had taken them, had been bad. Hiroi vaguely wondered how it had affected the merfolk, if at all. When it was lunchtime, it was clear that the rumor had spread. The wolf was furious. The wolf demanded Emmy publicly challenge that mean girl Matsudera and beat her barehanded where everyone could see. Assert that she was the new top bitch here. Before she was done eating, Matsudera and her gang leader, Razor Rumiko, approached their table. Ah, just who I wanted to talk to, Emmy said before they could even speak. She stood up quickly. Matsudera here has been lying about me, Rumiko Big Sis. If I had bitten her neck, there would be a mark, right? But there are no marks. Are there, Rumiko Big Sis? Rumiko rudely examined Matsudera. I do not see any mark, little sister, Rumiko declared. All I ask, Emmy replied, is for a public duel so that everyone can see me beat her fair and square. No weapons, no tricks. Matsudera versus Inukawa. Emmy asked using the most polite words that she knew. Razor Rumiko agreed. The honor of the Peach Blossom Sukeban is on the line. Yes, big sis, Matsudera agreed. I'll put you back down where you belong, cow boobs, Emmy. Emmy smiled sweetly in reply. The gang members left, and she returned to eating her food without answering any questions. She only waved when Hiroi or Shin tried. After school, they and a crowd had gathered by the old storage building. Emmy pulled off her sweater vest and rolled up her shirt sleeves. And then an idea struck her. She pulled off her blouse, proudly showing her white bra. Meet me on the same terms unless you're too embarrassed, Matsu-chan, Emmy taunted. Matsudera stared at Emmy, scowling. She took off her blouse, too, and blushed at the laughs and snickers over her pudgy body and her sweat-stained bra. I'll make you eat dirt and beg for mercy, river bitch. That's wolf bitch to you, pig. With the ceremonial threats and taunts over with, Matsudera ran at Emmy. Emmy tried to sidestep, but her move had been anticipated. Matsudera grabbed her by the hair and yanked hard. Sudden tears blinded Emmy. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. And Matsudera punched her right in her breast, which really hurt, and then punched her in the stomach, and she couldn't breathe. Emmy feebly tried to block the bigger girl's blows, but she found she had no strength. Matsudera pulled her to the ground. I beat up boys, you dumb bitch, Matsudera spat. My first boyfriend dated me because I beat him up. Emmy choked. Heard it was your brother, she gasped. Gave it up to your little brother, she said, grinning hatefully. The bigger girl left her to gasp in the dirt and screamed, Who told you? Matsudera yelled. Emmy pulled herself to her feet, gasping. You did. We were friends last year in junior high, before you decided to become a sukeban. Matsudera remembered. I never told anybody else. I kept your secret, Emmy said, and Matsudera blinked. Thank you, she said. Emmy pointed at Matsudera's chest. One of her breasts had come uncovered. She hastily tucked it back. Ready for round two, piggy? Emmy shouted. I want more! Matsudera screamed like a wounded animal and lunged again. This time she would grind Emmy's face into the dirt and scrape those freckles off. But Emmy was ready. She turned her body, stepped, and lunged. A powerful flying side kick took Matsudera's breath away, and her face contorted. Emmy nearly laughed, but instead she pulled her down and punched her in the breasts, one each for vengeance on her single bruised left, and Emmy punched her in the face next, left, right, left, screaming hatred against bullies everywhere. Hiroi pulled her away. It's enough, he shouted. I hate bullies! I hate all bullies! Emmy shouted as she pulled against Hiroi's grasp. She saw Matsudera bleeding and writhing in the dirt, and she felt sick. The other members of the Sukeban gang gathered around their downed sister, and they lit cigarettes. They circled her, inhaling deeply. They blew the smoke in their comrade's face as one and ground out their cigarettes on her face. Her scream of pain was girlish and pitiful. Emmy was sick in the dirt. Shin pulled her blouse around her shoulders as she heaved. The crowd quickly dispersed. Clearly the fun was over. Emmy pulled her sleeves on, but she walked over to pick up Matsudera's blouse, which had been trampled in the dirt. She brushed it off as best she could and walked over to where Matsudera held her face and cried. Emmy had never wanted this, but Wolfgal was howling in victory. She just wanted to not get bullied anymore. Emmy knelt in the dust. Your shirt, Matsudera-san. I tried to get it clean. At least it's not torn, she said, and put it around her fallen enemy's shoulders. Matsudera yelled at her to go away, just go away. But Emmy hugged her. I'm sorry. I didn't know that they would do that. And Emmy began to cry as well. Hiroi and Shin stood there, holding Emmy's things, watching in silence as the two girls wept in the dust, their bras out there for anyone to see. There was nothing sexy about that. Matsudera pushed Emmy away. You aren't forgiven, Emmy. My life at this school is over. My husband, my husband won't want me anymore. Well, I have two boyfriends. I can share, Matsu-chan. It will be okay. Shin flinched. Please say no, he prayed silently. Why would I want nerds like them? They're probably virgins like you. Matsudera sobbed. Emmy hugged her again. I'm so sorry, she said. Keep your pity. And Matsudera pushed her away again. She stood up and looked at the silent boys. Her burned, bloody, dirty face broke their hearts. She looked hideous, swollen, and reddened. There was dirt all over her ankle length skirt. How about it, boys? You want a real woman? And she laughed herself hoarse. She brushed more dirt away from her breasts and her belly. You can beat me and I don't break, she said. My husband hits harder than your girlfriend. Ha! And then she began crying anew as she buttoned up her blouse. They never saw Matsudera again and never found out what happened to her. If a Yakuza would marry and beat a 16-year-old girl, then all Yakuza were scum. Hiroi hated them all. Never catch him beating his woman, he vowed. They carried Emi's things to her home again after helping her clean up. Higashi-san was appalled at Emi's bruised face. You should see the other girl, Emi said sadly. She'd won, but the price of her victory was not to her liking at all. Please, Higashi auntie, we need a bath. We're very dirty, Emi said. Higashi-san frowned, but she readied a bath all the same. The three of them sat in Emi's bedroom on the floor, and Emi cried again, holding on to Hiroi. Shin put his arms around her too. He knew a weeping woman wanted to know that she was safe and that she was loved as much as a man could show it. His mother had cried on him often enough, and it was on one of those nights that Shin became a man. A little boy can only hug his weeping mama so many times and still be a boy. Some boys become men with love making, some with war, some with comforting those in pain. There was a lot to being a man, and nobody ever told the boys all the secrets. On that day, Hiroi became a man. He and Shin looked into each other's eyes as they held Emi, and Shin saw the boy in Hiro-chan die, and a hard thing took his place. He nodded, and Hiroi returned the nod. That fight had been ugly. Would all fights be ugly like that? Shin wondered. He decided he would find ways to end fights quickly and without much injury. He hadn't liked Anna Matsudera, but he had hated seeing her battered face. She didn't deserve to be disfigured. Then again, neither did poor Emi. At that time, Higashi-san came to the door and told Emi that her bath was ready. Emi gathered herself quickly. Thank you, Higashi auntie. I'll be taking my shower soon, and please set aside towels for my friends. Higashi-san bowed. I'll be back, darlings, and then please help me with my bath, and you can bathe too, she said brightly. Emi took a bathrobe and left them there in her room. Hiroi sighed. Do you think Emi wants to do it today in the bath? Kinda, Shin completed Hiroi's sentence. No, I was going to say, is on the verge of another breakdown. Uh, Who throws up after a fist fight? Oh, Shin said, maybe, but I think we're doing a good job providing the comfort that she needs. And Emi's tough. Hiroi shook his head. Emi-chan is fragile. She may be more direct than before, and more brave now that she has her gifts, but she's still delicate. What if she does want to do it? Shin asked. She doesn't. Even though I don't have any condoms yet, bro. Do you? Nope, but my mom knows a lady who can get us a great price because she works for a factory. Well, that's cool. Don't know how many we'll need, but better to have too many than too few, right? Shin reached out to slap Hiroi's knee. Hiro-chan, Either way, we're going to see Emmy naked, he hissed. Well, yeah, but it's a bath, and if she isn't trying to be sexy, don't get weird and perverted, okay? You're a bigger pervert than me. Let's not have this talk again, please, Hidori groaned. Fine. Then Emmy returned. Her hair was wrapped up in a towel, and she was wearing the bathrobe she had pulled away earlier. She took a deep breath. Okay, boys. Higashi-san agreed to wash your clothes. Please put on these robes that had belonged to my father. She set two bathrobes down on her desk and she waved her hand. Hurry up, put them on. Hiroi and Shinichi shared a glance. I know you can read my mind, Hiro, Shin thought. So we agree. This means she wants some kind of sexy time, right? He gave a significant tilt to his head. I'm going to nod twice so that you know I will kiss her first. He nodded twice. Hiroi nodded twice, thinking, I'm glad we understand. Emmy definitely is not wanting sex at this time. Your two nods indicates that you succeeded in reading my mind. They both stood and disrobed. Hiroi quickly, Shin taking his time so Emmy could enjoy seeing him. Shin smiled and looked appreciatively at his girlfriend in her bathrobe. He gestured at himself as if asking for her approval. Hurry up, Shin, so your clothes can get clean faster, Emmy urged. And Shin complied, feeling a fool. They carefully piled their clothes together for Higashi-san's convenience, and Emmy took the pile. The bathhouse is in the backyard, she declared. They shuffled to the backyard and put on some slippers they found near the door. Thank you very much, Higashi-san, Hiroi called out before they went to the wooden bathhouse. Higashi-san took the clothes from Emmy and arranged them in the small laundry machine. Emmy-chan, I know it's just a bath, but you're not little children anymore, she said. Higashi-san, don't be worried. I am in no mood for romance, and they know that. My lips are all swollen and my stomach is bruised. Higashi-san nodded. Emmy thanked her for her help once more and joined the boys in the bathhouse. She hung her bathrobe on a hook, leaving her hair still wrapped up. Hiroi whistled. Those are some bruises, Emmy-chan. Do they still hurt? Well, the one on my boob doesn't hurt anymore, but my stomach still does, Emmy admitted. So, no booby touch? Shin asked. No, Shin-chan. Emmy squeezed into the tub with the two boys. After some shifting, they all had a little room. I never wanted things to happen the way they did. I just wanted to stop them from bullying me. I really hurt her, Emmy said. Yeah, people get hurt in fights, Shin said. My hands hurt too, she added. I need to train more and get stronger. Hiroi examined her knuckles. You'll be okay. Take some aspirin, he said. I notice you keep looking at my body, Hiro-chan, Emmy said. Well, I like you, Hiroi agreed. I'm glad, but I'm talking about a serious problem. I don't like hurting people, but I want to fight for what's right, and finding out that Matsudera's old man beats her made it even worse. Hiroi nodded. Yakuza trash. Shin said, but the Sukeban will leave you alone now. They kicked Matsudera out of the gang for embarrassing them. Did you mean it when you offered one of us to her? Hiroi asked. Well, yeah, I have two. She would have maybe had none. And and wouldn't you like to date a tough girl like her? Emmy said. No, they both replied. She's mean and not at all cute, Hiroi added. Shin nodded. Oh, would you have had sex with her if I asked you to? Well, maybe for you, Hiroi said. I mean, sex is sex, right? Isn't that what boys care about? Well, some boys, Shin admitted, but we have standards. Hiroi nodded, but inwardly he felt that any willing girl who was not too young and not too old would be okay. And Emmy looked at him appraisingly. Hiro-chan, I know you can read my mind, and I can read yours. I know you would have done it with her, even if you imagined it was me and wouldn't admit it out loud, she thought. Hiroi thought, don't you read my mind and find out that I have no standards. Emmy had fully expected to cry again there in the bath, but she felt much better. The hot water relaxed them, and she was with her boyfriends. I really do like you both, she said. And how do you feel about our relationship? I just sort of took charge without asking. I like letting you take the lead, Shin admitted. You're the only girl who likes me, and I'm okay with sharing. Nobody else likes me either, but please don't get too bossy, Hiroi said. Emmy smiled. I won't, Hiro-chan. I'm not a bossy type, you know that. Her smile faded. The wolf is, though. The wolf liked beating Matsudera. You can control the wolf, though, right? Shin asked. Oh, sure. Just sometimes she's very persuasive. Like when she told me that you two were all mine. Because you are. My very own Shin-chan and Hiro-chan. Nobody can take you from me. And then Emmy snatched up their hands and held them together against her heart. She smiled and closed her eyes. We're meant to be together forever. Can you feel it too? Emmy-chan, it's very sudden and very fast, Hiroi began. Don't think about it. Just feel it. Don't you feel like it's right for all of our hands to be together? Hiroi looked at his best friends. Emmy still smiling blissfully like a painting of the Madonna. Shin giving him a look. Yes, Hiroi said. Shin smiled and then moved his hand to place his palm over her heart and subtly cop a feel. I feel your heartbeat, Emmy-chan, he said. She nodded and then opened her eyes. That's not all you feel, naughty Shin-chan. I'm not mad, though. She flushed in pleasure. I'm glad you want to touch me. It's right and normal. I'm your girlfriend. But then she put their hands back on their own laps. Now is not the time with me all bruised and puffy, she declared. Hiroi relaxed and Shin said, Aw, but won't it help you feel pretty? Shin-chan, don't whine and try to eel your way past my defenses. When the time is right, you will get plenty. He nodded. Time to go, boys, Emmy said and slowly stood up to avoid making water slop over the edges. She allowed them to look for a minute and then stepped out of the bath to dry off. Hiroi smiled. Emmy-chan, I like you the best, he said. She thanked him and put on her robe. Come on out, boys. Let Emmy see now. They stood up and she appreciated the view. Don't try to hide. I'm allowed to see if you've got an erection, she said. They couldn't help mentally comparing. They were nearly identical in every way, but Shin was not circumcised and Hiroi was. Emmy nodded and cooed happily. We should be a perfect fit, I think, she added. And how can you tell? Hiroi asked, turning his back to dry off. I just know. I'm your perfect only woman. You'll never even want anybody else. They donned their slippers and walked back to the house in their bathrobes. In Emmy's room, she made a show of picking out an outfit to put on to please them. These shorts and this tank top? She asked. Both boys nodded. Emmy dropped her robe and pulled on some peach colored panties. There's just no way to pull them on sexy, she laughed. But she posed afterward, modeling them before putting on a matching bra and then her chosen outfit. Now, Hiro-chan, let me draw you, she suddenly declared. Hiroi stood and put his hands on his hips while she fetched her sketchbook, and then she shook her hair free. Like this? He asked. No, pose like you're running, and take off the robe. Hiroi blushed. What if Higashi-san comes in? He protested. You're modeling, it's fine. Plus, she's seen a penis before. Drop it and pose, runner. He had no arguments left, so he assumed the ready position, crouching like a runner. Good. Now turn up and look at me and hold it. Emmy began to sketch. Holding the pose was harder than he thought it would be, so he used his gift and lightened his weight. After a few minutes, he let his weight return to full. He didn't feel so tired anymore. Emmy smiled. That's good enough. I'll go to details while you stand up. She continued sketching while he pulled on his glasses. And it was then, of course, that Higashi-san came in with some snacks. She set down the tray without a word as Hiroi tried to cover himself. Posing! Art! He stammered. She didn't give any reaction at all, just left. He relaxed, and then the door popped open. Very nice, Matsui-san, Higashi-san said with a wink and closed the door once more. Emmy laughed, and Hiroi quietly wished he could die. He pulled the robe back on. Hey, she approves. That's two women who give you the thumb up, Shin teased. Okay, Shin-chan, it's your turn. I want you to pretend like you're about to throw a shot put, Emmy said, flipping over to a clean page. Shin took the pose, also nude, while Hiroi grabbed a cup of orange juice. He offered some to Emmy, who slurped it in his hand, and then she nodded and he set it back down. She sketched and hummed a merry tune. My boyfriends are super sexy, and I'm the only girl at school who knows it, she sang in her mind. Hiroi's phone rang. Oh, it's my dad, he explained. Hi, Dad. Me and Shin are at Emmy's house. You were supposed to be at the pool 30 minutes ago, Hiroi, his father said. I forgot. We're helping Emmy with the sports festival posters. I'll be there as soon as I can, Hiroi replied. All right, son. Try to remember you have a job. Goro Matsui ended the call without another word. I'm supposed to be at the pool today, Hiro explained. I'll ask Higashi-san to drive us, Emmy said. Us? You want to go for a swim? He asked. Sure, I could use the practice. Shin shrugged. Emmy put down her art supplies and jumped out the door. Shin scrambled to grab the robe, but Higashi-san was already in the doorway holding their school uniforms clean and dry. Emmy stepped aside to let her in, and Higashi-san set their clothes on the floor. Higashi auntie, could you give us a ride to the pool? Hiroi needs to go to work, Emmy said. Oh, sure, Emmy-chan, she replied. Shin was red all over, covering his groin with the robe. Very nice, Negazawa-san, she added before closing the doors. I only have my school swimsuit, Emmy said. Sorry I don't have anything sexy, but I'll fix that later. Shin and Hiroi hurried to pull on their clothes while Emmy grabbed a bag and put her swimsuit and her still damp towel into it. Hey, do you want to swim too, Shin-chan? Emmy asked. I don't know. Maybe I'll just watch you, he replied. That's okay too, Emmy replied with a smile. They arrived at the pool shortly afterward, and Hiroi went directly to the locker room to change into his lifeguard trunks. Shin changed into his trunks after all, and Hiroi had gotten him a free membership, but Emmy had paid for her own. She got a student discount, though. In addition to owning the pool, Hiroi's dad was a coach. Hiroi took his place on the lifeguard chair after apologizing to Rebecca, who was an American woman who worked for his father. Rebecca nodded tersely and hurried away. Hiroi tried not to notice her glare as she brushed past him on the ladder. Sitting atop his perch, Hiroi watched as if extra vigilance would make up for his tardiness. Ah, stupid, sexy Emmy. He wouldn't have forgotten his shift if she hadn't been taking the blood away from his brain. and this time at the pool was designated for the younger swimmers and for parents, mostly mothers. Some things changed, some things stayed the same. Hiroi knew both of the dads out there were single, and they were out on the prowl while doing a good dad act. Internally, Hiroi scorned them, assured that he would never be thirsty like that. Shin and Emmy sat on pool chairs waiting for free swim to begin, which would take about 20 minutes. Shin and Hiroi's prescription goggles had distinct fisheye effects on their appearance, but Emmy had insisted that it was cute. It made them look like goldfish, she said.